In this video, I want to talk to you how to stand out in a crowded market as a woman of color coach and what you need to do in order to sign more clients in your offer. I want to start this video with a simple example. Okay. When was the last time you actually had a job interview or you applied for a job? I mean, for me, it's been too long. I think it was last time was 2017. But I want you to imagine like five highly qualified women are applying for the same job. Okay. They have very similar degrees, very similar experiences, and very similar skills. But one woman was able to clearly communicate how she thinks, what she believes in, what her perspectives are, what specific results she creates inside the company. Now she becomes the person that everyone remembers at the interview. And the coaching industry works the same way. Your qualifications may prove that you are capable, but your perspective makes you memorable. That is how you make your messaging magnetic. Especially as women of color, many of us, we were taught to work hard, to collect as many qualifications as possible before you put yourself out there, before you sell something, and to wait for our excellence and for our gift to be noticed by everyone else. But your audience cannot choose you based on the expertise that they cannot see. So it is literally your job to communicate and to continue to communicate what makes your work different and why you are the best choice for them. And I think one of the biggest mistake or fears I hear from women of color coaches and industry experts is that they believe the market is too saturated, right? Like there are already so many coaches. Why should I even start going niche down? Why should I even consider this? There are too many coaches. Why would someone choose me? Those beliefs and those thoughts are creating that you are comparing yourself to everyone else. So you watch everyone else's content, you compare your content, you compare their prices, and you make sure that your price is a little bit too low so that everyone else would choose you. You compare your followers, you compare your offers with everyone else in the industry. And eventually you convince yourself in this journey that the only way to compete is to create more content, more reels, more posts, more strategies. And at the end, you are burnt out and overwhelmed, and you don't know why every action that you are taking is not working out right now. So, the coaches who are signing clients, who are leaving a bigger impact, who are getting podcast interviews or speaking opportunities, they aren't creating more content, they are actually creating better messaging. And that's the difference here that I want to highlight in this video, because creating more content leaves you with burnout, feeling overwhelmed, and not enjoying content creation anymore. I mean, think about the time when you started. Content creation was one of the fun things you wanted to do. You were looking at it every single day and you were excited to create content for your community, for your audience. And now you feel burnt out, you feel exhausted, and you don't see that fun anymore. Why? Because you are creating all those content with this energy that you have to create more content in order to stand out. You have to post more in a crowded market so that everyone notice you. But what you are missing in that journey is that there is no messaging, there is no angle, there is no perspective where you are making your brand memorable. Just creating more content doesn't help you to stand out and make you memorable. You have to create messaging that stands out, where someone stops the scroll and they are reading your post and they are like, this is a new perspective, this is a new lens. I haven't seen my problem in a different way. Oh, okay, it's actually possible for me to solve my problem. And let's be honest here, sometimes you see another coach and you think, right, like, yeah, I can actually, like, I'm a better coach, right? My clients are getting better client results. I have even more experience. And why am I not signing more clients? And usually the other coaches, they are not better or better than you. It's because they did one thing over and over again in order to get better at the skill, which is communication, articulating the value. Because what is missing in your whole marketing strategy is not another what to post content, right? You don't need different content strategy. You need to know what to say in your content. That is the missing piece in your content strategy right now. That people don't understand who you are helping, why you are helping them, what is the problem that you are solving, and why it matters now. So your audience doesn't reward because you have all the certifications hanging on the wall. They think, oh my God, she's so smart. Oh my God, she's actually investing so much money in her certifications. But the reward is when you, as the coach, you understand your audience better than they understand, and you can clearly communicate that to them. You clearly know how to tell them why they have this problem and what will continue to happen if they stay in that problem, and what kind of possibilities are available for them if they choose to step outside of the comfort zone that they are in. So your audience don't care, really, they don't really care the certifications. They don't care how long you are in the industry. They only care and they will only pay you if they have this feeling that you understand them more than anyone else. And that is the secret to stand out in this crowded market. And the biggest messaging mistake you can do as a woman of color coach is to sound intelligent, to sound smart. Look at the 10 last post, video, reels, whatever you are posting, okay? And I want you to look at the content and figure out, am I sounding too smart here? Am I trying to actually sound smart and sound intelligent? You are explaining your methodology at a high level, your frameworks, your certifications, your process, right? Everything is high level. Everything is in the language where you are in right now, in the conscious level that you are in. But what you are missing is that your prospects, your clients are not where you are right now. They have a whole different language than you. Again, you are in a state where you solved the problem already. And now you are helping someone to solve their problem, which was in the past for you. Means you talked in the past differently, you walked differently, you had different beliefs, you had different behaviors in the past. So, sounding intelligent and sounding smart is the reason why no one is connecting with you. Because the buyer is simply asking one simple question when they are watching your content, reading your post. They are like, everyone is selfish, okay? I want you to take this with you. Everyone is selfish and everyone wants to solve their problem fast. So the one simple question they're asking every single time is, can you solve my problem? Do you understand what problem I have and can you solve that? So your audience is not looking for the most sophisticated explanation. They are looking for recognition. They are looking, do you understand me? They want to actually have this internal, this emotional trigger inside of them where they are thinking, this is exactly what I am going through now. They want to actually feel that you understand them. They want to see that you know why they are stuck more than anyone else. And if you're creating that feeling with your content over and over again, that is how you know your messaging is working, which will get you higher conversion on your sales call. And I want you to tell something that I wish more women of color coaches believed in is that your biggest advantage or how you're going to win in a crowded market is not your framework. It's not the three steps. It's literally your perspective because no one has lived your life. No one has coached exactly the clients you have coached, right? No one has noticed exactly the same patterns, the same behaviors, and no one explains a problem, a solution, a different way of thinking, a different point of view through your lens, eyes of lens, lens of eyes, something around that. Like the way you are thinking, the way you are seeing things, right? No one can replicate that in the industry. And that is your positioning and that is your market advantage. So, moving forward in 2026 with AI rising and using AI, your positioning, your voice is your market advantage. That is how you're going to make your brand memorable. That is how someone will stop the scroll and someone wants to read your post, wants to be in your universe, wants to actually binge watch all your YouTube content. Again, because you have mastered the skill of communication to communicate your perspective and to communicate your point of views. And in order to do that, the biggest mindset shift you need is like, which comes with visibility and fear of being seen, is that you have to stand behind your lived experience. You have to own the story. You have to own it. And I know a lot of women of color coaches, they shy away from that because they feel like that their story is not worth it to share. They feel like no one will actually understand what they went through. But that is exactly the mistake that you can do as a woman of color coach, not standing behind your identity, not owning who you were, who you are, and who you want to be. So your audience doesn't need another coach who's repeating the generic advice that is already existing on ChatGPT and on YouTube. They want someone and they need someone who can describe their struggle better than anyone and better than they can themselves. That is memorable and that is actually impossible to copy. And when you are sprinkle in your story, your identity, your perspectives, you're going to win not only in the next 6 months, but in the next 10 years. So if you're actually here in my community, you are someone who wants to build this business long term and think about your business long term. Think about your messaging long term. Think about your marketing in the long term. Not only how can I get the next client in the next 30 days, how can you actually get consistent clients 10 years down the road? Like, not only in the next 30 days, but again after 90 days, again after a year. So, what is something you can create now that is memorable and impossible to copy? So, I hope now you have a pen and paper because I really want to share with you the 3 ways to stand out in a crowded market as a woman of color coach. The number one is stop talking about your offer and you have to start talking about the problems that your people are experiencing. Okay. And the problems, so a lot of people, okay, this is my secret for you and my free coaching for you. When it comes to magnetic messaging, and when it comes to literally being in the shoes that your people are experiencing right now, you have to use the language that they are using. And like what you can do is literally analyze your old sales call transcriptions, your coaching calls, and write down what are the symptoms they are actually explaining to me on these calls. And those are the next 10, 20, 30 content ideas already living inside your call transcription. This is how I never have this feeling I don't have content ideas. Literally, I have all the time, like, even when I finish this video, I feel like, oh my God, can talk in the next 30 minutes about the next content type. Why? Because I have mastered the pulling out content ideas from my coaching calls, from my DM conversations, from sales calls, from market research. I mean, I don't do this anymore, but when I did it in the beginning of my business, like, those are good ways to actually put yourself into your prospects' shoes and start to use the language they are using. Because when you only talk about your services without giving the value when it comes to the problem they are actually experiencing, that's why no one is showing interest, because they feel like you're only selling your offer. When it comes to selling your offer every single day, you have to give value first, which is talking about the problem, the symptoms. You have to connect the symptoms so that people understand why it is important to pay attention right now. Number two is you have to have a point of view. And this is for you if you are a woman of color coach and industry expert. Okay. The internet doesn't need another generic coach, another coach saying, hey, consistency is important. Yeah, baby boo boo, we know it. Come on, give me a new point of view. Give me a new point of how to think about my problem. So you have to tell your people what you actually believe in. And this is actually so good for you if you are a woman of color coach, industry expert, because you have different belief systems. You have different patterns. You have a different way of thinking. You have a different way of solving a problem. So one of my strongest belief that I keep pushing inside this industry over and over again is that you, as a woman of color coach, you don't have a lead problem. Stop chasing new leads. You have a conversion problem. You have a messaging problem. Solve that first before you are actually spending money on ads. Or one of my biggest philosophy that I keep on telling and saying, and like, you can literally hear this all the time, is that your business should get lighter as your revenue gets bigger. Some people will disagree, and that is okay, because if you watched the video from yesterday, which was all about visibility and healing your visibility wound, is that thought leadership comes with criticism, comes with people who will disagree, right? So thought leaders aren't remembered because everyone agrees with them. They are remembered because they consistently stand out for something. So if you want to watch this video all about visibility, all about healing your visibility wound, click here. I'm going to link that video in here so you can actually watch it. It's very good. So you have to have a point of view, and you already have it. But what you need right now is the coaching and the support to uncover all those point of views that you have inside of you, in order to go against the grain, in order to talk your voice and use your voice, and not continue to whitewash your voice because you believe internally that that is not how you're going to get successful. That is not how people will actually choose to work with you. That is actually you dimming your light and you keeping yourself small, because literally your point of view is the reason why people continue to work with you. They continue to stay in your universe, binge watch all your content, and get ready on their own to work with you. And the number three, which goes back to your offer, okay? You have to make your offer feel essential. It has to be essential in today's market. Market is changing, okay? It's always changing. And you have to be on top of that. And currently, the market is that if your offer is not essential, where people feel like without this offer, I am losing everything, you're going to actually lose months down the road. So your audience shouldn't think this is interesting, let me think about it. They actually, when they see your offer, when they hear about you selling your offer, they should think, I need this. So your offer has to be like food and water for your people. And the difference comes from your messaging. It really comes back to your messaging. You have to study your offer and you have to know what happens if nothing changes in your client's life. Talk about the cost of waiting, talk about how you waited and what was the cost of waiting. Talk about what becomes impossible when they are not solving the problem. What becomes possible when they are solving the problem in the next 30 days? That is leadership. So when you make your offer essential and you study your offer, it becomes easier for you to communicate all of those important stuff in your messaging, in your content strategy. That is how you will stop convincing your people on a sales call and you already get your people pre-sold to book a call with you and they are getting on a call to sell themselves why you should choose them. If you want to have a business like that, then the messaging has to do the heavy lifting, heavy selling for you. So in this video, I want to replace one belief for you today. Okay. The belief, like what you need to stop believing in right now is that you need to beat your competition or the market is saturated and you should actually be generic. Okay. I want you to start believing that you need to become impossible to misunderstand. Because when people understand your value, when they understand why your approach is different, unique, faster, why your offer matters now, why it is essential, why they're going to keep losing if they are not solving the problem, and you stop competing, right? And you start actually becoming impossible to misunderstand, that's when you stop competing on price. This is how my client Vinita, who's a job hunt coach, stopped competing on price, paused her membership, launched her one-on-one coaching at a high ticket price, is booked out, and now actually is getting ready to do her group offer at a higher price. Before that, she was selling Before that, she was selling her one-on-one coaching for $300, and her membership was like $30 because she was actually competing on price because she didn't know how to communicate her value. She didn't know how to communicate why her approach is different, why her point of view is different. Before that, she was actually solving everyone because she was afraid to niche down because she was like, the market is too saturated, right? Now she's actually serving a specific kind of ideal client. She's now actually serving immigrant Indians who are living in the US right now and want to have or want to transition into a six-figure job. You will stop competing on followers because followers doesn't pay your bills. You will stop competing on who posts the most content because you understand that posting more doesn't mean getting the clients. It's posting content with the right messaging, magnetic messaging, that gets you the clients. So you become the obvious choice, right? For the people who you are meant to serve, who want to be served by you. Because you are so specific in your messaging, because your offer is essential, because you know what the language is you need to talk over and over again. So the next time you look at another coach in your industry and wonder, what does she have that I don't? What is she doing that I am not doing right now? I want you to remember the example I gave you at the beginning of this video with the interviews, right? People are choosing you because you have a point of view, not because you have the degrees, the certification, and the skills. Everyone has it. But why should someone choose you? It's based on the point of view that you are sharing. So the goal is not to become louder than everyone else. The goal here is to become clear in your messaging than everyone else so that your people are choosing you. You are becoming the obvious choice for your people because that creates trust, and trust creates the demand, and demand creates or increases the conversion, and higher conversion means increasing your revenue. And that is how you're going to build your business that stands out in a crowded market, and no matter which niche you are in. And not by trying to or outwork or hustle your competition, but by clearly learning how to communicate the value so that the right clients stop looking or stop searching and start saying, okay, this is the exact coach I want to work with. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I see you in the next video.